along. And I met a bunch of you guys over the last few days, and I'm like, you're the best hierarchy. I don't know anybody that works harder than TCW. And I see her every trip. We've traveled the world together, yes? And every time that I see her, it's just this person, that person, just a list of you guys, of bragging about you guys and asking questions that she can bring home from every leader. She's relentless. Remember when she was injured and she was like in the wheelchair and stuff, and she'd like, I'd see her across the resort, and she's like coming after, you know, coming after leaders to get her questions answered. And I don't know, like the only other person I know in this company like that is Cashier Stan. He stalks people. He actually kidnapped Rocky one day. I had to have a big conversation with him about the legal stuff and not getting in trouble for literally Rocky couldn't leave. He's like, I'm going to take you to, and he took him to his hotel until he answered all his questions. He did the same thing to Raja. I found Cash, like he was like Hawaii, in the dark, in the bushes. And I'm like, what are you doing with this? He's like, I'm waiting, that's Raja's room, I'm waiting. But you guys have a tremendous leader, yes? Yes! And you know, this is an interesting convention. You can feel the synergy, yes? Like when you come in, you can feel that synergy. You get like the new people, the people that have been around a long time. There was just a different excitement, a genuine excitement. And then we get into the gala night. And it wasn't the Eric Olson show anymore. It wasn't, you know, just a few people up there, the same people going across the stage. It was so many different people. How about when they put up the new $250,000 earners? Was your mind blown?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like we're part of this amazing company. But I hope one thing stood out from all of it is how fast it's happening. That there's a new generation of builder, yeah? It's a very new generation of builder. Whether it's Bombo's team or Raja's team, which it seemed like a lot of, and there's others too. It's a new generation, and it's just happening faster. And people say, what are they doing? What are they doing? And I'll tell you that a lot of those teams, because Raja was around a while before this explosion happened, but he had a huge explosion in the last few years. And a lot of those people there was a gal that made $1 million in her second year. There was several of Raja's guys that hit CEO in their second year, right? A lot of these guys came in right before the Zoom era, or during the Zoom era. So they weren't trained in the past, in old ways, you understand? So all of us had to adjust and adapt and learn how to use Zoom, yes? And learn how to grow. We all had to do that. They didn't. They didn't. So here's what I'm seeing, at least within my hierarchy, and maybe this will help you have a different perspective. But a lot of those guys, you know, we got good at making sales on Zoom, yes? All of us did, right? We all had to do that. We got good at doing Zoom got good at training on Zoom? Yeah. What I feel like, at least my team, that still has not got good at, really, is fast starting on Zoom. Making phone calls on Zoom with their brand new person. Well, they got good at that from day one. And all their people know how to do it. So I'm telling you, if it was my heart, you know, I'm meeting with all my direct SMDs right now. The leaders have to get back to prospecting. I told them all to make a 100-name list. My leadership to make a 100-name list to go crazy on prospecting. I will compete with every single one of you, talking to people and just getting names. Walking from my hotel room to the arena yesterday, just walking from my hotel room to the arena, I got 7 numbers. And we're just walking, and there's a lady standing, you know, handing out the thing. And I'm like, you just look absolutely miserable at this job. We're gonna chat on Monday. Give me your number, hon. I gotta run and speak at this thing. And she gave me a number. All 7, you guys, listen to me, all 7 numbers I got yesterday, not one asked what we do. Never had the conversation. Easiest thing in the world. Why? People are hungry. That's 7 numbers. Rich Thali asked a question of my leadership team 2 nights ago. He said, how can you get better at being obsessed? Of making this an obsession. And I took the question personal, and I said, I need to be obsessed on personally prospecting and personally going wide. So my leaders have an example of that, and it trickles into my hierarchy. Does it make sense? And then I gotta get where we are the best at fast starting people and making phone calls via Zoom. Is that the hot spot? It's always been the hot spot. Controlling the point of contact is always the hardest thing in our business, right? So I gotta get good at that. And if you do, you're the next gen builder. You'll be pumping out the 117s and pumping out the promotions and pumping out the CEOs, and now Raja's pumping out the SEVCs like it's nothing. Do you understand? So I'm gonna go through, we talked about happy and strong, and we talked about all these things, and I'm grateful that you guys are using the book and liking the book, and so many of you guys and so many teammates have said, how it's changed their life or their teammates' life, or they're using it for recruiting, and I think that's awesome. Happy and strong is something I'm really passionate about, because during COVID, every team in WFG was calling me. It seemed like everyone was depressed about in some form, like their own little form of depression. And I promise I never ever wanted to write a book. I don't recommend writing a book. You do not make any money on writing a book. It's not about that. You write a book because you want to help people, period. And I just felt I had to, you know what I mean? But we're going to talk about what I think all of you need to do if we're going to get her to EC, yes? Yes. Okay, so let's see. Can we get the PowerPoint? It's about leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So we're going to talk about the characteristics of the leader. Actually, it's part of the book. There's one chapter on leadership. You guys know the book, the first half is how to win in business. How to get a clarity on your vision and win in business. The second half of the book is how do you do it all? How do you juggle it all? How do you have it all? And with the middle of the book, there's one chapter called Becoming a Leader. If you guys have read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I wrote the book in 60 days. That chapter was added 2 months later. Because I thought, this is such an important part of this, And so turning yourself into a leader. If we get her to EC, how many of you guys are going to your $1 million rings? How many of you guys are going to $500,000 rings? And how many of you guys are going to be CEOs and EVCs and SEVCs, yes? That's the goal. Well, to get to SEVC, yes, there's a lot of numbers. Yes, there's a lot of prospecting and contacting and a lot of appointments, a lot of no's. But you don't have a team, an SEVC team, you don't have an EC team, you don't have a CEO team unless you can lead. So we're going to go through this. I don't know, oops. It's kind of cool. Let's see if I go backwards. Okay, there we go. So what should I do? Click next? That's what happens when I click next. Isn't that cool?